Hey everyone, I thought I'd do a little impromptu live session to catch up on some of the news that you may have missed, but that will definitely affect you in certain areas of your life. Hey everyone, I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. If you are new here, go ahead, hit that subscribe button, become part of the Gem Nation family. On this channel, we drop gems in the areas of wellness, travel, and money, honey, all from a cultural point of view, a Black woman's perspective. And so I invite you to become part of the Gem Nation. But tonight, I wanted to talk about some things that some of y'all may not be aware of as it relates to travel, as it relates to market moves. And so let's just go ahead and get started. I don't know if everyone knows what's going on as it relates to travel. And guess what? It may actually impact you or someone you know and love. So let's just go ahead and get into it.
Travelers from over 40 countries may soon have to share 5 years of their social media history before entering the US. Citizens of 42 countries enrolled in the visa waiver program can typically come here to the US for up to 90 days for tourism and business travel. That list includes many countries in Europe, including France, Germany, and the UK, as well as US allies around the globe like Australia, Japan, and New Zealand. While their citizens in most cases do not need a visa to travel to the US, they still have to submit an application online using a system known as ESTA before entering the country. The Trump administration is now proposing to overhaul that system, including to require applicants to share additional personal information about themselves and relatives. That would include their social media activity over the past 5 years, emails that they have used over the past 10 years, and the personal information of direct family members, including phone numbers. The administration
Did you hear that? Going back 5 years, 10 years, and what do, relation you have to certain family members with their phone number. This is the beginning of what's the word that I'm looking for? Like, it's just going to be a country that is seen as yeah, nah, we don't need to go there no more. Where else can we go, right? And so think about it. If they do stop you and if they do go through certain things, what does that mean? Can they detain you? What can possibly happen? Let's find out to see what other people are saying, because I really think these areas, especially as people are traveling for the holidays, these topics are very important to know. So many, people get assumed for other nationalities. That doesn't mean they, won't continue to go through your stuff once they realize that you're not from that country. So it's better to stay ready than to have to get ready. So let's see what else they're saying.
Okay, breaking news. New travel requirements are being proposed by this administration, and they are completely wild. What they are proposing for foreign visitors who travel to the United States. And they want every foreign tourist coming from countries like the UK, Japan, Australia, Germany, and others to submit a 5-year social media history. 5 years. In addition to their email addresses, phone numbers for the last 5 years, and get this, the names and addresses of their family members. This information would be mandatory through the online authorization travel system. And even if
So when I say every day, even though I expect certain things to happen, the warp speed at that they're happening at that they're happening in are is mind-boggling, right? So it's one thing to have to fill out an ETA form, right? I had to do it if I want to go to the UK, certain European countries, you have to do it. Brazil, you have to do it. But they're not asking for my social media history. They're not asking for the phone number of my relatives. So if you don't think this is going to put a dark stain, if this any of this gets passed on the tourism industry for this country and how it's going to affect other businesses, then you are sadly mistaken. I mean, I am so flabbergasted, and I'm about to do something without even checking with my partner, but I am going to Yes, I'm going to open up one additional spot in the high probability trading only cohort. And I'm going to tell you why. Actually, before I list that, let me just share some more news with you because I don't think many people know that there is so much changes happening and how it's going to affect certain industries. So let's listen to what's going on with Walmart because some of you may not have realized the move that just happened this week, actually 2 days ago, with the Walmart brand. So let me go ahead and share that. Yeah, here we go. Let me add to the screen and we're going to listen to, I don't know, let's just pick, I want to pick somebody who has a lot of views only because that means people probably have some type of connection to them. But I don't see a lot of people that have a lot of views. A lot of people are not talking about this. But let's, you know what? Let's go up here. This was an hour ago. She has no views. Let's give her a view. Hopefully, no, let's go over here 2 days ago when it happened.
It's Tuesday and the market is barely moving. Why? Well, all eyes are on the Fed decision coming tomorrow. Bad labor numbers and flat inflation means the street is betting on a third rate cut this year. What do you think? Vote on StockTwits right now. Now for the shocker. The newest big.
Before we get into Walmart, if you paid attention to what he just said, yesterday the Fed announced a 0.25 interest rate cut, and there was a whole lot of news that went along with that. You know, the administration is not happy. They thought it should be higher. But we can get into that later. But I wanted to make sure you caught that. Like the interest rates went down 0.25%, which is next to nothing. Anyway, but let's just listen to what happened with Walmart.
Big tech stock added to the NASDAQ is Walmart. They left the New York Stock Exchange after 50 years. Walmart is up 7% since the announcement, hitting an all-time high and it's chasing a $1 trillion market cap mark. Finally, later today, GameStop is posting earnings. Analysts are looking for a...
Let's see what else they got to say about Walmart.
WSJ calling out whether Walmart should be really treated like a tech company. The NASDAQ may make the stock rise even further. Its closest online comp is Amazon, but Amazon obviously has AWS. Walmart's up over 10% over the past month. And its forward PE ratio is ahead of almost all of the Mag 7. Interestingly, Costco has a higher PE ratio going forward. That is mostly due to the consistency of the Costco business. Let's do a 1-minute discounted cash flow analysis of Walmart.
As we said when we released our third quarter results, it's been really consistent for us. Now we're benefiting from some share gains. People with higher income levels are shopping with us more often and have been.
So I'm going to rewind that because I didn't say who this person is. I sometimes assume everyone knows. This is the CEO of Walmart, and he was on CNBC a couple days ago in advance of the opening on the NASDAQ versus the S&P. And so let's go ahead and listen to what he was saying.
As we said when we released our third quarter results, it's been really consistent for us. Now we're benefiting from some share gains. People with higher income levels are shopping with us more often and have been for a while. There's pressure at the bottom end. Inflation being low single digit right now helps a little bit, but it's on years of price inflation in some categories. Gas prices being low is helpful right now. So people are behaving pretty consistently, but there's pressure for those at lower income levels.
So
as we said when we released our third quarter results, it's been really consistent for us.
Used to come from the lower income level shoppers. And that was your whole marketing strategy to attract those who were lower income shoppers. You want us to believe that the higher income shoppers are now shifting from higher valued or perceived valued retailers now to Walmart. They're flocking for what? For what? Like, the math is not mathing, but go ahead with your bad self as you're now on the NASDAQ and you're trying to really compete with Amazon. Interesting. But let's see what other news.
Every time I buy my kids shoes,
Walmart's NASDAQ leap aligns with digital pivot, boosting visibility in tech ecosystem. Strong earnings underscore consumer resilience, signaling retail's adaptive edge.
WSJ.
Walmart just dropped a bombshell. Starting December 9th, it will move its stock and bond listing from NYSE to NASDAQ. Shares jumped 6% in a single day. Why does it matter? NASDAQ is the tech exchange home to Apple, Microsoft, Tesla. Walmart is saying, we're not just a retailer anymore, we're a tech and e-commerce giant. US. Online sales grew 25% last quarter. The 100-year-old dinosaur is officially becoming a tech stock. Crazy. Walmart just dropped a bombshell.
Now, very interesting that, and I think I misspoke. I said S&P. I said they were switching from the S&P to NASDAQ. It was the New York Stock Exchange, the NYSE, sorry, to NASDAQ. But it's very interesting how a little bit of online sales, right? Because I can't believe that their retail shops are taking such a hit that they are now deeming themselves qualified to be on the same level as a Amazon, as a Tesla, as a Microsoft. You know, these are the big NASDAQ companies. And so to even be, you know, mentioned in the same sphere as those Magnificent Seven companies is quite interesting. But it's going to have effect. It's going to have an impact on the markets. And I did say, oh, let me see. Let's go back to the travel stuff. I am going to put a, so there's a link to anyone who, so this week we talked about this in our high probability trading only masterclass. I think this is it. If you are interested in signing up, please go ahead and claim one seat. I am opening it up because this market is doing certain things that I think many of us need to really pay attention to in order for us to make a lot of money, okay? Or at least, you know, generate additional income. You know, it's relative. A lot of money is relative, depending, like for someone, $100 a week can be a lot of money. So it's relative, but I think this is it. If you're interested, go ahead, check it out. But let's go ahead and get back to some of the travel news that's happening because we need to stay abreast. We need to know what's going on. Actually, before we do that, I do want to go to CNBC just so I can share some of the top business stories that many of us don't pay attention to, and I think that we should. So let's go ahead and look at that. Hold on a second. Stop sharing that, and we're going to share this. So let's just look and see what happened CNBC today. Market. Hold on. Always check your privacy settings. Oh, okay. Yeah. So the president signs executive order for single national AI regulation standard, limiting power of states. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's a win for tech companies that have lobbied to limit the power of states when it comes to regulating AI. So you know what that means for AI companies. Who's invested? That's good news. And if you're not invested, you need to learn how to get invested because that's a big win. And these are the things we need to know. And so, although I had another strategy for tonight's call, I just finished a webinar and I wanted to make sure that we at least are current on the news and what's happening so that we can act accordingly. Mm. yeah, so okay, I don't want to make anyone get fearful of anything, but let's just see what the latest market news is. Wow, the Fed voted to reappoint all of its regional banks presidents. Yeah, we need to, yeah. Mm, 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 mm. So again, I want us to be more market astute and understand what is happening in the US markets and how we will be impacted. And so, and that includes everything. So, home prices go negative for the first time in over 2 years and may stay that way for a while. Um, yeah. Let's go ahead and get back to the travel stuff because I need to dig way too deep to really review that story. So, we're getting back to the travel topics. And this way, if you are traveling or know someone who is over the holidays, especially out of the country for now, then please let them know. And we're also going to talk about if you don't have the, what is it called? The real ID, how it may cost you at the airport, even if you have a passport. And so we're going to talk about that and share that story.
Would you show 5 years of your social media history to government officials to be able to visit the US? Well, you could be asked to as part of a new proposal from American officials. The new condition would affect people from dozens of countries, including the UK, Ireland, France, Australia, and Japan, who are eligible to visit the US for 90 days without a visa, as long as they have filled out an electronic system for travel authorization or ESTA form. The existing ESTA requires a comparatively limited amount of information from travel.
This is a good point, trying to kill tourism. And this person's from Canada. You think? And then people are saying who would want to go there. Like when I talk about planning for 2026 and that 2026 is going to be a turning point, do I even have to expand based on what is happening today, right? Yeah, tourism is going to decline so much. People from Canada prefer to never visit the US. The end and fall of the American Empire. Like this is interesting, but I do also want to share. I'm not going to be on here long, but I do also want to share about. Hold on a second. The real ID. Let me see if I do $45 fee. Here we go. Okay, let's talk about just a second. Here we go. I think this is the US.
Starting February 1st, TSA has announced that they will begin charging travelers a new $45 penalty if they don't have a real ID or passport. It's not just a one-time cost, it's a recurring penalty that places an unfair burden on Illinoisans who travel infrequently and who can least afford it. We're making it easier than ever for Illinois residents to make a plan to avoid the fee and get their real ID before February 1st. First off, we've extended the
So I don't have a real ID, and I have been caught in the airport without my passport recently. And they didn't really have a procedure, just made me take off my shoes and sign a paper and go through. Well, now they have a procedure. It's called TIC Confirm ID. No, TIC Confirm .ID. And they will be running that as a biometric check on your regular ID if you show up to the airport and you don't have a real ID or passport. So if you don't have your passport, you need to get one. Please do. That's just some regular old general advice. But if you show up and you don't have your
Hey y'all, it is Thursday and I have a travel tip. Here's a quick update for TSA. Earlier this year, TSA proposed to start charging an $18 fee if you did not have a real ID and you came to the airport, whether a real ID or a passport. But y'all, they changed that fee. Y'all know they was gonna do it right. So now TSA has proposed starting February 1st, 2016, if you show up to the airport for any domestic flight, you do not have a real ID or a passport.
Okay.
So are you still traveling without a real ID?
Not 2016, 2026, February 1st. If you do not have your real ID, even if you have a passport, be ready to pay $45 every time you get on a plane. And that is a way to either force people to get the real ID or to just not fly, to find other means of transportation. So again, tell your kids, tell your wife, tell your aunties, tell your uncles. $45, they need to have. Listen, I've seen people fight in the airport on Spirit Airline because they didn't have $50 for the baggage fee. Imagine going to the airport not knowing you have to pay $45 each way, and you ain't got it. You just don't have it. So again, put the word out, spread the word, and make sure that everyone that you know is aware of what is coming on February 1st. And with that being said, I really just wanted to come on and talk about the two most recent travel news stories. The one where if people are entering from other countries, many other countries, that they didn't have to have, it was visa free for them before, they now may have to fill out, it's like an ETS, electronic traveler's authorization. I think it has an additional initial in there, but you may have to produce your social media accounts for the past 10 years, something else for the last 5 years. Let's look at it one more time. And telephone numbers and contact information for your loved ones or people, your family, let's just say, whether you love them or not. So we're going to take one more look at that, and then we are going to get on out of here. Okay, here it is again. So let's take a listen.
Would you show 5 years of your social media history to government officials to be able to visit the US? Well, you could be asked to as part of a new proposal from American officials. The new condition would affect people from dozens of countries, including the UK, Ireland, France, Australia, and Japan, who are eligible to visit the US for 90 days without a visa, as long as they have filled out an electronic system for travel authorization or ESTA form. The existing ESTA requires a comparatively limited amount of information from travelers, as well as a one-off payment of $40. The new document, filed by Customs and Border Protection and the Department of Homeland Security, also proposes the gathering of the applicant's phone numbers and email addresses used over the last 5 and 10 years, respectively, and more information about their family members. Now, we've already seen the Trump administration requiring foreign nationals applying for student visas or H-1B visas to make their social media accounts public. This new proposal has been given a 60-day notice with requests for comments from the public. So it's not final at this point, and it may see some revisions. The BBC has asked DHS for comment. Would you show 5 years of your social media history to government officials to be able to visit the US? Well, you could be asked to as
again, the risk is in not knowing. You have now been warned if you've listened to this and didn't know before, and it's up to you to warn others so that they are not caught up. Again, we talk travel here, we talk money here. Please, 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 please. Sharing is caring. So go ahead and spread the word. If you have ever been caught up in anything like that, where you've had to, well, this doesn't start till February 1st, right? No, it hasn't started yet. So they're in the process of trying to get it approved, right? Which I don't doubt that some form of approval will happen. So let us just get prepared for the type of businesses that will be affected, the type of people that will be affected the most, because they're targeting certain people, right? And let's again just have our stay ready so we don't have to get ready hat on, and again share with those that we love. And with that being said, everybody have a good night. I will see you Hi, Vitality Journal. Good to see you. Yes, I'll be back tomorrow sometime. Not sure what time, but I will be back live tomorrow. Until then, good night.